Doctor, recently we wake up with a news of disease outbreak. Can you help us to understand that disease, the root cause, and how we, because we are talking about staying alive, no matter what, even in these economic challenges, and health is very important to stay alive. And now there's outbreak of disease. Let's get to know what the disease, the cause, and how we can, manage it to be able to stay alive.
Okay. Well, the disease you're talking, I guess, is Lassa fever,
Okay.
which was we just have an outbreak in a hospital in Kaduna, where some health workers lost their life. It's one of the viral hemorrhagic fever. It's a group that we call viral hemorrhagic fever. In other words, just to break it down, is a fever that is caused by microorganisms we call viruses.
Okay.
And at the terminal stage, when we say hemorrhagic, the patient usually bleeds.
Okay.
You get it? So it's a fever that will end up with bleeding from different parts of the body. You can bleed from your nose, bleed from the mouth, in your stool, in your urine, as a result, because it affects what helps your blood to clot.
Okay.
You get it? That's why it is called viral hemorrhagic fever. And interestingly, it was discovered in Nigeria. That name Lassa is the name of a village in Borno State. Okay. You get it? So if you go back, just check the history. It was discovered in Nigeria in 1959 or 69. That's when the first case was reported. And it's usually caused by rat. That's the carrier of this thing that transfer it to human. That's the reservoir. I didn't say it's caused by rat. Sorry, the reservoir is rat that you see around. You get it? That is the reservoir of the disease. And it usually occurs at the peak of the dry season. Usually, that is when it comes. And if you notice, we are at the peak of dry season. Usually, once the first rain comes, the incidence usually drop. So, and to prevent it is just simple, basic hygiene. That is all. You get it? One thing you should know that it's not like COVID that you can, it's airborne. No, this one there must be direct contact with the fluid. If the virus is in any fluid, you have contact. When we talk about fluid, from your saliva, from your urine, from blood, you get it. Any contact, if there is such contact, you can have the disease, basically. So, like the rat, at home, how do you prevent it? Make sure there is no rat in your house, if possible. Okay. And then the next thing is that cover your food. Okay. You get it? Because that's where they come. In the night you are sleeping, the rat will come. All your food, this thing, their urine. Okay. I mean, the urine is drop in this thing. So when you cook the food, you don't cook it properly, and then you eat it. You can have it. You get it? So personal hygiene at home. And then in the hospital, for those of us in hospital setting, we advise what we call universal precaution. These are precautions that are standard in the hospital. You get it? But most of the time, we are always caught off guard. Because in Nigeria, we like the situation, let's help. You see a patient coming, ideally you're supposed to wear gloves before you touch. But sometimes in most of these public hospitals, the gloves are not even available, handy at the emergency list. That is why most of the time when there is an outbreak, it must have casualty before we now realize, are we not dealing with it? You get it? So basic hygiene in the hospital, washing your hands. Anytime you make contact with a patient, you wash your hand. Anytime you wash your hand, it's so simple hand washing will solve the whole of the problem. Now, what are the symptoms? When you have the disease, how do you know you have it? Basically, you as a normal person, you don't know. It's not like malaria fever. It's just like any other fever. You have high temperature, body is weak, headache, all those ones. That is the early stages. Now, if there is no treatment, as time goes on, that's when it develops, you now start bleeding. At that point, it will be difficult. Most people that have reached the point of bleeding, it's difficult for them to survive. And the fatality is very, very high. However, if it is diagnosed on time, there is a drug for it. There's antiviral drug that they give, ribavirin. Once you take it over time, and the treatment is not in the conventional hospital. There are special hospitals that are, I think we have some of these hospitals within Kaduna. I remember during COVID, we have some centers, infectious disease centers that were open, one at Dankotas. At the time, we opened one at Hamdala, and I think there is one in Mando. Those are places. And then even within bigger hospitals, there are unit isolation areas. So, but there's nothing to panic about as long as you take all the preventive measures. You have nothing to be afraid of.
Okay. So there's no need to fear. What we need to do is to take caution of our basic hygiene, which include washing our hands regularly, especially with running water, using maybe can they use this
Hand sanitizer. Yes.
sanitizer?
Once you wash, you use your hand sanitizer.
And then
But don't use hand sanitizer without washing.
without washing. Okay, washing hand sanitizer. Then some person, since it's not airborne, that means some people have started going for nose mask and all that.
You know, when there's an outbreak like that, nobody
Yes.
knew what the problem is.
Yes.
You get it can be COVID, it can be LASSA, it can be anything. The samples we are taking from the patient and was sent to, I'm aware of the first 6 that were sent to Kano, a lab in Kano to test. So when the result came out, it was discovered that 4 of them had LASSA fever. The LASSA virus was inside. So if it's LASSA, face mask will not do much.
Okay. So LASSA protection is wash your hands.
Basic hygiene.
Basic hygiene. If you use nose masks without adhering to basic hygiene, you may get LASSA fever. So thank you, doctor, for all the insight. You have been able to tell us what LASSA fever is all about and what causes it. You and rats now should be enemy. If you used to keep rat as a pet, then beware of LASSA fever. Except you also want to keep LASSA fever as a pet, so that it will not add to the pains of the economy. Let's stay alive, just as we have been saying.